Hi guys, welcome to Salesforce Troop. This is the 8th video of our COVID-19 Safe Checking app series. And in the previous video, we already submit the form successfully and the data is getting right on the Google Sheet. And now we want to add the spinner on submitting the form, and we want some indication or a success message on the screen to the user that can understand the form has been successfully submitted. So let's go and see how we can create the spinner component and add the success message. So let's go to the VS Code. So let's create the spinner component first, and to create the component we'll add one new folder under the my folder, and I'll give the component name as spinner. And this spinner will have three files: spinner.css, spinner.html, and spinner.js. In JS it will be the standard class. So basically we're going to import the lightning element from LWC and export the class spinner and extend the lightning element. We are not going to play anything with the JavaScript. And for HTML, every template starts with a template tag in LWC. And to get the spinner, what we're going to do is we're going to SLDS library and copy the code from there. And if I go to SLDS library, you can search for spinner, and here you will see the spinner different variations. So I'll select a spinner with the fixed or with container option. So I'll copy this HTML. Make sure you're not copying the outer one. That outer one is just to give some gray background. So we are taking only the main tags that is required to show the spinners. So I'm taking this and going back to my VS Code, and I'm going to paste this as it is. And now we are going to add this component in our app component. And to use this component, I'll use on the top outside the all grid, I'll just simply say my hyphen spinner. And let's go onto the screen and see whether the spinner is visible on the screen or not. So you can see that spinner is coming on the screen and it's working fine. So we just need to hide and show the spinner based on some property. And for that, what we're going to do is we'll go to VS Code and we'll go to app.js. And here on the top, we are going to create a property. It's another local property, and we'll call this local property as loader, and we'll say false. And this loader become true only once the user click on submit. We'll say once the user click on submit, this loader should become true, which means show the spinner on the screen. And apart from this, what we're going to do is we want to false the loader irrespective whether an error comes or the success comes. So what we can do is we can simply say finally, whatever be the case, whether it's success or error, just false the loader, which means hide the loader. And on the screen in the HTML, what we're going to do is we'll use template tag if true directive, which says whenever the loader property gets true, I'll show the spinner, otherwise I'll not show the spinner. So I'll move this inside the spinner. So let's try this on the screen. Refresh the page quickly. Let's try with some other details and hit check-in. You see spinner is coming and it went away. And now if we go to our sheet, Google Sheet, the data gets entered. So now our spinner is working fine, but I want the user to get some indication like the user has submitted successfully or some message should come on the screen. For that, we're going to create the message. So to show the success message, what we can do is once the user successfully submitted, it will hide the form, and on the top we can show some message, welcome Nikhil, you have successfully submitted the form, something like that. So for this, what we can do is we'll go to app.js and let's create a property is submitted. Let's create another local property. On the top is submitted and we'll initialize it with a false, so the form is not submitted on load, and we want this property gets true or get true on once the success comes. So inside this, what we can do in our API or on click of submit button, when the result comes, we'll check if result dot success, if it true, basically it means the success returns true. We can simply say this dot submitted true, and after a few seconds we just want to reset the form as well. For that, what we can do is we can use set timeout, the window dot set timeout, not interval, it should be timeout, and we'll use arrow function here as well, and we'll say this dot is submitted to false, and we want this dot form data, we want to clean the form data as well once the user submitted the form, and I'll say it's problem with my dots on my machine, and I'll just want to set default data. So once the user submitted the form, just reset the form data to this default data. So that's what we are resetting it here, and this should get triggered after 6 seconds maybe. We are giving some 6 seconds here, and once it's submitted, we want to hide and show on the screen as well. So what we're going to do on the front end, we'll first hide the form. So I'll wrap the form, I'll just increase width, so I'll just wrap the form with the template if true. I'll say if true, which means is submitted is true, or I can say if false. When the is submitted is false, then only show the form. So by default it always show the form. Once it's submitted, it will not show the form. I'll cut this form and paste it inside the template. So our form will be hidden once the user submitted, and the other place that we want is the header. And in header, what we can do is our header, let it be show on the screen when the user submitted is false. So we'll say template if false, and if false of submitted, yes. And I'll just copy paste the name from here is submitted, so that will not do any mistake. So when the user not submitted the form, show the heading COVID-19 safe check-in form. If users submitted the form, which means if true, and submitted, then we'll show some different value. And I'll take the same classes and same text right now. I'll remove the text from here, and I'll say check-in message. This will be a getter that we're going to create now. So we'll go to JS file, and below the submit method, above the change method, we'll create a getter, and we'll say get check-in message, and the check-in message will be, I'll take backticks and say welcome, and we'll do the name dynamically. So I'll say this dot form data dot name, whatever the user enter that name. Name is a capital property here, so I'll use capital. Welcome Nikhil, you are checked in. So So this message will come once the user checked in, and after 6 seconds it will reset the form and go back to a normal state. So let's test this out. Let's refresh the page and I'll say Nikhil Karkara, and I'll give this time some different name, John Doe, and let it be the email address and everything remains same. I click on check-in. It's submitting the data. Now you see, welcome John Doe, you are checked in, and this message is coming, and after 6 seconds this form get resetted and form is back in the normal state. So now our application is ready end to end, and now we have to deploy this application to Heroku. So in next video I'll teach you how to deploy the application to Heroku. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.